420 ग्राम्स के इस नए एपिसोड में आप सबका स्वागत है। इट्स वी डिसाइडेड फ्रॉम बिफोर, ताकि 4 लोग हैं, आप लोग रहे हो 4 लोग हैं, तो यहाँ पे चलो यार 70 मिनट 80 मिनट का कॉन्वर्सेशन होने वाला है। लेकिन वैसा है नहीं, क्योंकि ये थोड़ा न्यूज टाइप शो है, विच इज गिविंग यू एन इनसाइट इनटू व्हाट टू एक्सपेक्ट फ्रॉम द एग्जीक्यूटिव कमिटी डिसीजन. Executive committee of the All India Football Federation which will be meeting tomorrow, and they will of course take into account all the recommendations made by the technical committee. And technical committee के अगर आपने रिकमेंडेशन सुनने हैं तो उसमें सिद्धांत दानी और मैंने एक शो किया था विद फॉर्मर इंडिया फुटबॉलर शवाक अहमद, हु इज पार्ट ऑफ दैट टेक्निकल कमिटी. देन डू गो ऑन यूट्यूब एंड सी दैट फुल एपिसोड. बट सर, गाड़ी आगे बढ़ रही है. हमारे साथ है वैभव रघुनंदन, जयदीप बासु, सिद्धांत और मेरे साथ. सर, व्हाट कैन वी एक्सपेक्ट इन दिस एग्जीक्यूटिव कमिटी? बिकॉज टेक्निकल कमिटी के बाद बात ये हुई थी कि जो भी फॉरेनर्स का आप इम्प्लीमेंटेशन करेंगे टू व्हाटएवर 4+1, 5+1, 3+1, it won't be done straight away, but it will be done over a phased manner. So we'll be getting to a 3+1 in 2 years time or 3 years time. So is that what we should expect tomorrow?
Maybe for the ISL, but I-League might revert back to 3+1 tomorrow. Because yesterday they held a meeting, an informal meeting with three AIFF officials, the General Secretary, one of the Vice Presidents, and the I-League CEO were there, and all representatives of the I-League clubs were there.
They were there.
More or less, they were there. They were including East Bengal. East Bengal was also there because there is a confusion where they are going. That's what I'm saying this. So all the teams have agreed to implement it from this year only.
Brilliant.
Except I think Real Kashmir has a problem. Real Kashmir said, let's make it 4+1. I think they have contacts with 5 players. So they have to terminate one of the players, perhaps. And which what do you say? Gokulam also said. Praveen was himself there in the meeting, I believe. And Praveen said, I believe Praveen asked for again 5 players. He said, you play 3+1, but allow us to recruit one more.
So when you say recruit, essentially you mean register in your playing squad. So
let us register 5 players. But I think AIFF said see, we are trying to go by the AFC regulation, which is 3+1 in registration only. In 18 only 3+1.
So अपने playing 11 में भी 3+1 खेल सकते हैं.
हाँ, वही 3+1 खेल सकते हैं. 3+1 ही registration हो सकता है. पूरा 4 खेल सकते हैं. तो AIFF I think has noted down the suggestions and said we will tomorrow in the meeting we'll see what will be done on this. So, but what will happen only? But I think it will be 3+1 in I-League. But again, implementing in I-League was never a problem. All of us are aware of it. The problem is elsewhere. So, what will happen there? That we have to wait.
At least a welcome start तो है. कुछ तो at least ये है. मतलब आपने चलो ISL में आपने अगर बड़े contracts आपने already hand out कर दिए हैं, which is the supposed argument that a lot of ISL clubs are giving, that we've got 2-year contracts with a lot of players. Then at least it's a welcome change कि आपने I-League में तो implement किया कि I-League में आपका Indian players का base तो बन ही रहा है फिर, because 3+1 4 this is very nice. He only 4 registered and only 4 can play. And great. And from an I-League team's perspective, when I was speaking to a couple of I-League clubs and all who might be playing the I-League next season, and they were also saying that, look, 3+1 ka matlab, it's perfect because then we don't get that big a hit on our finances. Because आपने टीम तो वैसे भी अगले 2 साल तक आप चाहे जीतो हारो कुछ भी करो, आप जा तो नहीं रहे ना ऊपर. तो आपने तो बस वहां पे रहने खेलने के लिए टीम बनानी है.
वो तो देखो, आप अगर for a sovereign sane person, it is the right decision. Because your league is the platform for your national team. Unless your national team doesn't do well, nothing goes well.
But sir, sorry to interrupt, but I would say कि this is an unqualified victory, sir. Like हम काफी समय से बोल रहे हैं यार 3+1 करो, 3+1 करो, 3+1 करो. तो अब कर दिया है, तो प्लीज थोड़ा ताली वाली बजाएं, थोड़ा नहीं थाली वाली पीटे.
1 मिनट में बर्तन लेके
पीटे थोड़ा.
सर, अगर आप गूगल मैप्स में देखें AQI लेवल्स सिद्धांत के घर के आसपास बढ़ गए क्योंकि वहां पे पटाखे फोड़े जा रहे हैं.
What I was trying to say that 3+1 is certainly a very sober and sane idea because that because your league is the platform to your national team, but not everybody in India believes so.
Yeah.
Some people think, a certain section of the people think, I don't want to name them, they think their league is the ultimate of Indian football, and the rest can be their guest actually.
But that thinking won't last too long, ना sir. At the end of the day, फिर अगर आप internationally कुछ कर ही नहीं रहे हो आप football में, तो आप क्या league आप देखना चाहोगे? Simple सी
that
बात
has been, I think that has been told to a certain section of the people time and again. But as I said, for some people, league is like a Femina show. So if you think that you are going to run both of them in the same manner, then it is going to happen like this. But overall, I think the AIFF planning is for a change is not exactly bad.
Not bad. I know. Credit to AIFF. Siddharth, I won't be surprised if teams making for the I-League next season, whenever it may happen, that they even opt to play with an all-Indian policy, just purely because of quite a few factors. A, your finances have already been hit, so you don't know what kind of budgets you're going to have. In all possibility, your budgets are going to drop down a little bit. And also B, that when you know there's no promotion relegation, why should I spend to be super competitive? Why not just spend to just sort of be afloat?
Yeah,
I don't get it. It's not like you're fighting for a major prize money or TV rights or whatever.
Actually, Arjun, what Ranjit Bajaj says, there is no promotion, but we have relegation.
Yeah. सही बात.
He said,
तो relegation से बचाने के लिए आपको 4 foreigner की तो जरूरत नहीं है ना भाई, मेरे हिसाब से. तो उसमें तो आप टीम चला सकते हो ना with all Indian also.
Yeah, but I mean, just to clarify, I think, and we are all probably on the same page as far as this is concerned, that we look at these athletes as people who they sell their labor. वो अपना श्रम बेचते हैं, अपना, that's the only thing they have on which their livelihood is based. So whether you come from Spain or any other part of the world, or Manipur or Goa or Bengal, as far as we are concerned, everyone should have the opportunity to be able to play, do their job and earn a living off it, right? That said, when you have norms in place which are in place across the continent and by and large accepted across the world, a similar system is followed by other continents as well in terms of signing of foreign players and maintaining the balance of what they consider to be their kind of football, right? ठीक है, तो यूरोप में जैसे अलग है उनका सीन थोड़ा, या था. अब how Brexit will impact that will also be another part of the story. Similarly, there's nothing stopping us from building associations within our continental sort of group and having those development programs, exposure programs that allow the exchange of foreign players. These things that we keep talking about, right? कि इंडियन प्लेयर्स को अगर फॉरेन प्लेयर्स के साथ खेलने को नहीं मिलेगा तो वो बेहतर कैसे होंगे. ये सब करने के तरीके अब भी हैं और रहेंगे. बट गिवन ऑल ऑफ दैट, ये जो 3+1 जो है ये बहुत बढ़िया है. और हाँ, ईच क्लब, लाइक इवन विद इन द स्ट्रक्चर, विद इन द आई लीग, कल को आप अगर कह रहे हैं कि नए क्लब्स भी आने की संभावना है, तो उनकी क्या खर्च करने की क्षमता है, कितने पैसे वो खर्च डालना चाहते हैं, नहीं डालना चाहते. These differences exist, and some teams have been playing largely foreigners. I mean, in Indian squads, younger players, you know. So it's been a process that has, in any case, been in the works for some time, where clubs have, and there are, the unfortunate fallout is that the competition becomes a little bit less competitive. But everyone now is firmly on the page that the I-League is the second division.
Yeah.
Right? And the chance of you making it to the national team now involve one further step, which is getting a club and playing time, hopefully, in the ISL. Right? So it's beneficial for here.
Unless
because,
you're super exceptional.
Yeah, I mean, suddenly कोई ऐसा कुछ player आ गया तो सही है. And maybe it will happen, I don't know. But still, so your player base increases here. The fact that you are losing out on at least one club because Mohun Bagan is being merged with Atletico, some of the current batch of elite players who will be jobless will at least have a place to play and continue to grow, because they are also young players, some of them like in their 20s and all that. वो क्या करेंगे? सडनली आप टीमें कम करेंगे तो वो वाला एलिमेंट है. ISL के लिए भी बेनिफिशियल है बिकॉज दे गेट अ चांस टू आराम से ओवर द कोर्स ऑफ एन एंटायर सीजन look at more of these Indian players and figure on a long term basis because they have let's say उनको एक साल एक्स्ट्रा मिलेगा. So then they can build यार. अभी आपको अगले साल क्या करना है. आप अगर FC गोवा हैं और आपके पास एक ऐसा कोई प्लेयर है जिसके पास आपने 5 साल का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट साइन कर लिया है. So now what do you need to make that marquee player you've got or 2-3 players whatever it is, make those guys work, and who are the young players that can come in to fit into these rules, because there are also sub clauses for under 21 players, under 23 players, all of that. It's easier to make loan transfers. It makes a lot of the system much easier for clubs to operate in a flexible manner that fits in with what is happening in their actual season. Forget about the larger philosophy of what happens to the national team and all that, because उस सब में तो जो भी है, like Ishfaq was saying on the show that we did the other day, एक साल में 3+1 करने से नेशनल टीम के रिजल्ट्स ने कोई कहीं वो आसमान में नहीं पहुंच जाना,
नहीं होने वाला. हाँ.
तो ये है. सॉरी मैं थोड़ा लंबा चला गया, बट ये है
मेरा क्या है. तो पक्का है नेक्स्ट ईयर इंप्लीमेंट होगा 3+1. यू आर सेइंग राइट नाउ इट्स 5+1 बाय द वे, or 6+1.
It is 5. It is
5+1.
5. No, there is no 1.
I said it's only 5, total 5. And how many 5 in the playing 11?
But no, you can 7.
7. ISL is 7-5. I-League is 6-5.
तो अब I-League will come to 3+1 both sides, register and play. ISL का क्या आप कह रहे हो सर?
वो उनके है तो कि अगले साल पे उनका 3+1 हो जाए, लेकिन वो
registered also 3+1.
हाँ सब मिला के 3+1. But so far we have not heard anything from them. So unless they agree to it, we cannot be we cannot be very sure about it. And as I heard that some of the franchises are having a second thought about it. They may be thinking that they should be discussed. They should be discussed more. They should have more dialogue with the federation about it, and slowly get into it. Maybe by the end of 2024 it might come. So once that 10 years tenure of the ISL franchises go away, a lot of people think of. So I think even if tomorrow the AIFF executive committee passes this resolution, I think matter could still be fluid. It's my feeling is, I may be wrong, but I have a feeling the matter could still be very fluid.
I guess at the end of the day, because the FSDL is the body that governs the Indian Super League, and whatever they decide, I mean, anything that the AIFF executive committee may or may not decide is not sort of binding on them. So they have to make their own decision and depending on what they see fit. So.
MRA of course says so. But at the same time, the regulation of the ISL has to be passed by the AIFF.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So it has to. There has to be.
Yeah, it's both ways.
This is an outstanding chicken egg situation. I love it.
Yeah.
जनाब आप नहीं पटाखे फोड़ रहे अपने घर के पास. 3+1 तो हो गया एटलीस्ट. वैभव से पूछ रहा हूँ मैं.
भाई मैं पटाखे नहीं. What I'm going to do is like ये जयदीप सर ने एक चीज बोला और सिद्धांत ने एक चीज बोला. I want to take those 2 clips out and उनको like ये पर्सनली एक ईमेल भेजना चाहिए AIFF को, because उन्होंने तारीफ की है AIFF की. Like it's amazing.
I believe Mr. Patel has told the AIFF executive committee that in the next 2 years it has to bring down to 3+1.
I think actually 2 years. So you're saying it might be implemented from year 3 then?
From 21, I think, because I have a feeling since AFC has obliged the AIFF by giving ISL the number 1 league status, virtually the number 1 league status, by giving them the ACL spot.
Champions League spot,
They would also like the teams who are playing the ACL should follow their regulation at the domestic level also, isn't it? That's logical, isn't it?
उनके लिए और problems भी present होते हैं, I think, because like other countries will also start wanting exceptions then, you know. So at some point, it's a very valid point that Jaideep is bringing up. At some point, the All India Football Federation and Praful Patel, who is on an AFC representative to FIFA as well, you know, so there are responsibility. He has a wider constituency than just the ISL or even Indian football. So these considerations have to come into play, and they have to kind of.
The thing is that you are going to ACL or the AFC Cup as the champion team of the country. You have become champion by taking 6 foreigners. And when you go there, you play with 4. That means.
और फिर आपकी बैंड बज जाती है.
नहीं, वो तो चल ही रहा है ना, वो तो as it is हो रहा है, already हो रहा है. I mean.
That means somebody can stand up and say this is not the true representative of the country. Here they have come with 4 foreigners, but back at home तो ये तो cheating करके आया है, ये तो 6 foreigner खिला के आए हैं.
तो सर मैं जरा इसको थोड़ा आगे ले जाऊं. क्या मतलब ये है कि AIFF और FSDL के बीच ये जो पहला डिसीजन लिया गया है, this is the first decision which the FSDL is not happy with, because it's not really going according to them or in their favor. This is the first of many, or the first of, I don't know how do you put it, because eventually तो आपको ये लाइन में लाना ही पड़ेगा ना. और अगर आपको लाइन पे लाना है अपनी ये गाड़ी, then आपको बजेगी सीटी उड़ेगा, बॉल को सेकंड पिक्चर पे रखना होगा. पहले पिक्चर पे इंडियन फुटबॉल एंड गाइडलाइंस एंड एवरीथिंग विल हैव टू बी डन.
But FSDL is happy or not unhappy. We have, frankly speaking, we are not sure about it so far, because officially they have not said anything. The ball starts rolling after the AIFF executive committee today. We will really know then what they stand, because it is only so far a recommendation from the technical committee.
Yeah.
So nobody has officially accepted it, not even AIFF.
Trevor, you wanted to say something?
So yeah, actually, like on a slightly divergent point, which is something that actually Jaideep sir, as well as Siddhant and you, both of you keep bringing up, it is that it's fine 3+1, but essentially this is just numbers, right? Like, because if you're still filling these 3+1 positions with key positions, like how is it benefiting? I mean, I just want to post this. Yeah, I just want to post this question.
अगर टीम बना रहा हूँ तो मैं अभी भी मैं स्ट्राइकर ढूंढूंगा, मैं स्टॉपर बैक ढूंढूंगा.
So
and
again,
then that one position I'll see मेरे को कहाँ पे भरना है.
So again, so I'm just posing a question. So is this just like numerically it's great, very good, आपने reduce कर दिया है, but positionally as well as like in terms of like larger developmental thought, does it really help like at all, or is there like a stricter regulation necessary for that?
No, but Vaibhav, there is no strict regulation. If you don't want to play AFC Cup or ACL Cup, then you do whatever you feel like, not a problem.
तो आप 10 के 10 खिलाओ फॉरनर.
10 के 10 खेलो या कोई भी मत खेलो. इवन AFC Cup में आप सारे इंडियन लेके भी जा सकते हो, कोई आपको रोक नहीं रहा है. But again, you have to understand one thing, that that this I-League and the ISL both are television sports to some extent. You have to attract some spectators, some viewership on it.
Yeah.
I don't know how much wise it would be that if you filled all 11 Indian side, that might be for the spectators.
I know, sir. I know, but I'm just saying in a league where say 3+1 is allowed, and then you have this one Indian team which is fielding all Indian players. That's a great storyline. And even if they pull off a draw, if they pull off a win, I think that's a great storyline for the league in itself. कि ये यहाँ पे 11 के 11 इंडियन लड़के, यंग लड़के खेल रहे हैं, and
like
they might be going and winning. Yeah, Arrows.
Existing Arrows is doing it already, and
absolutely all the time.
Sort of good projects to good. I mean, it's a good like कुछ देख हम celebrate भी क्या कर रहे हैं, थोड़ा perspective तो लाएं. सही बात है. सवाल जो जायज़ है इसका वैभव का, because हम celebrate कर रहे हैं कि हम वापस step 0 पे पहुंच गए हैं. कि हम शुरुआत अब शायद कर सकते हैं यहाँ से कि हमारा कुछ ना कुछ लीग स्ट्रक्चर बनने की शुरुआत हो रही है. इसमें भी टाइम लगेगा. Still, like Jaideep is saying repeatedly, that still people want discussions. Even I-League clubs, some want further discussions, right? I mean, there has to be a point when these discussions need to stop and certain like steps have to be taken, because one way or the other, इतना एक साल में इतना कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, right? So धीरे धीरे जैसे आपने अब tier 1, tier 2 डिसाइड कर लिया है, tier 3 डिसाइड कर लिया है, you know, side by side आपने एक women's league शुरू कर दिया है, and you're going to eventually make it compulsory for some of these teams that are playing in the top tier to also start women's sides. So you're encouraging the women's game as well, putting some effort and money into it. So overall, all of this has to come together, यार. And इसमें अभी बहुत कुछ, वही शुरुआत है, छोटी शुरुआत है, but
जैसे कि आइजैक डोरू जैसे मीटिंग में बोला भी है कि आप आई लीग को 2+1 कर दो ना.
ये हुई ना बात.
डोरू has said कि ISL is your main tournament. Your I League is your virtually your second division, whether you like it or not, or you admit it or not. So make it 2+1. Of course, nobody took his suggestion. उसके बोला I League में 2+1 कर दो तो more Indian players can play.
मतलब I don't get the I League owners perspective. मतलब एक होता है कि ठीक है, I am chasing TV revenue, I am chasing advertisers courtesy of me coming on television and the product I am putting out, so I can understand that. But जनाब आप उस stage पे हो ही नहीं. You are not there. You are pretty much at a local stage right now. Your local stage is that कि आप ground पे जा रहे हैं और आपके एरिया में वहाँ पे बात हो रही है कि हमारी टीम खेल रही है तो हम वहाँ खेलने जा रहे हैं. अब वहाँ पे अगर आपने 2 अफ्रीकी लगा दिए, एक स्पेनिश लगा दिया और साथ में उनके इर्द गिर्द आपने इंडियन प्लेयर्स लगा दिए, तो वो एक थोड़ा सा फैसिनेशन होता है सर. मैं
undoubtedly, yeah, because you want to see good players.
Sevens में आप देखो, they're mediocre players, but still African players, they have the different belt, they have different characteristics, so they give you something different from an Indian player, right? And तो वो ठीक है, but 2+1 is perfect. आपको 3 खिलाड़ी दिख रहे हैं, they can still influence your game in key positions, but you're also giving a lot of chance to local players who in turn, like what Siddhant said, कि अगर आपने लीग खिला दी ना सर 4 महीने की आई लीग, 90 मिनट आपने दे दिए, यहाँ पे हर टीम में आपने लड़कों को where 9 players or 8 players are given starting positions, you watch the supply line to the ISL, that eventually जो अभी आपके 40-50 लड़के खेल रहे हैं, जो इंडियन फुटबॉल में खेल रहे हैं, उनका भी तो टाइम आएगा हटने का, और वो टाइम हटने के बाद सप्लाई लाइन ही तो ऊपर जाएगा.
Yeah, and some of these clubs, many of these clubs, I-League clubs, will also be playing local leagues, state leagues. So these are players who are getting the maximum number of games, hopefully, now. In the season. So even though it's still not up to the mark, the 45-50 game mark or 40 game mark even, but तब भी 30 से 35 गेम आपको शायद खेलने को मिलेगा. I mean, उससे आपको आपका जो overall development है, जो players का मतलब at least there's also a responsibility that is owed to the players, right, when they are in the game and coming to the game. So उनके perspective से भी देखना जरूरी है कभी-कभी. And I disagree with Jaideep a little bit in that small on the minor point that like they are not yet television leagues, but we that's why it's a question of what we want to build and how we want to build up to it, right? अगर हम शुरुआत से ही टेलीविजन लीग बनाने या टेलीविजन कंपटीशन बनाने का सोचेंगे, तो जो पंडित बात कर रहा है about the local connections and like जो वो है, which is currently the reason that anyone is interested in watching this, right? Because you are competing with the best in the world when you are ranked 100 and something.
Yeah, I agree. Or you have an exceptional talent like Roy Krishna. So you say, okay, you speak about Roy Krishna. You say, wow, this guy.
But even then, Pandit, I would say, on television, I can watch Messi. So what is Roy Krishna? But if Roy Krishna is in my hometown, right, playing at my stadium, then maybe I want to go and see it. So I think the emphasis for us for the next maybe 50 years should be to build like stadium, the sport from the stadium up, or actually from the ground up. But like that's where we engage with the maximum number of fans. And उसके बाद जब वो सब हो जाए, तब eventually तो television media and media monopolies will take over everything, or they are trying to take over everything
हाँ,
anyway.
क्योंकि सर वैसे भी इन्फ्लेशन तो आ गया है, इन्फ्लेटेड है बहुत बुरी तरह, ऊपर से नाउ वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमी इज इन अ बैड स्पेस, सो इंडिया इज नो डिफरेंट, इंडिया हैज बीन हिट वेरी बैडली, सो आई एम प्रीटी श्योर कि आपका योर एक्सपेंसेस आर गोइंग टू गो डाउन, योर एक्सपेंसेस आर गोइंग टू गो डाउन, एंड इवन देन इफ यू वांट टू स्टार्ट फिलिंग अप six foreigners, it means the quality of your foreigner will go down because it's directly related to the amount of money you're spending for a foreign candidate. There's no other reason.
And recruitment of foreigners will also be difficult now. What sort of rules government comes up with while recruiting foreigners from which country? These also we have to see.
Oh yeah.
They have to fill up so many forms, so many health certificates and whatnot. So it is not going to be easy to recruit players also. So 3+1 overall is a very good idea, I would say. I don't know. Let us see what.
ठीक है जयदीप सर, वैभव, सिद्धांत, as always, thanks for joining us on this conversation. Hope you enjoyed this very brief. सर कितना brief था? हमने बोला था 10 मिनट करेंगे, कितना किया?
25.
हाँ?
25, almost half an hour.
Almost half an hour. चलो जी, छोटा एपिसोड बनाने की कोशिश थी, and by our lofty standards, I think ये काफी छोटा एपिसोड था. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.